Nifty and Sensex see little change amid uncertainty over a trade deal with US before the July 9 tariff deadline. Capital goods gain while metals and healthcare drag. Midcap slip on profit booking. Apollo Hospitals has drawn up a scheme of arrangement that will see it combine its pharma, retail and distribution businesses with its digital initiatives under Apollo HealthTech and list the business. The spin-off, with shares being allotted to Apollo Hospitals shareholders, promises significant value creation. The stock perks up. Bajaj Auto reports a dip in June sales dragged by weak domestic demand, while Escorts tractor sales stay flat. But M&M posts a strong show all round with growth in PV, CV and tractor sales, while Eicher Motors tops estimates on bike shipments, riding on strong international sales. SBI Chairman C.S. Setty says the focus is on digital transformation to make India's largest and most trusted bank ready for another 200 years, even as it celebrates its 70th year. He adds that the timing for its 25,000 crore rupee QIP this fiscal has not yet been decided. India-US trade talks enter a sensitive phase with some differences on tariff levels and those on specific items like steel. Sources say the next 2 to 3 days are crucial for sealing an early harvest trade deal. Hello and welcome to Business Lunch live from the CNBC-TV18 Motilal Oswal studio. I am Vamakshi Thoria and let's take a look at what the markets are doing at this point of time. It's a lackluster trading screen, much like what we saw in the previous trading session. The mid-cap end of the market, though, which was doing quite well yesterday, is not doing the same today. It's in fact down almost 0.3%. The advanced decline ratio will also come up for you on the screen, and that will show you that the declines are outpacing the advances in today's trading session. The line has crisscrossed a little bit, but nevertheless, there has been, some sort of movement, especially in the broader markets. Let's take a look at some sectoral indices as well. Nifty PSU Bank is doing quite well, just like yesterday. Look at the moves on Central Bank. That stock is up almost 2%. PNB as well doing quite well, up almost 2% in today's trading session. On the flip side, look at Nifty Media. That is taking a bit of a dip, down almost 1%, dragged by C Entertainment, FMCG, Pharma, Realty. All of these other major indices are also taking a knock. Let's also focus in on some specific stocks then. Apollo Hospitals on the back of that news flow. When we look at the counter, it's up almost 3% and in fact has managed to hit an all-time high. Another counter that has managed to hit an all-time high is Karur. It's up almost 2%. But let's get a move on then. Let's focus in on the auto pack. June auto sales numbers are trickling in, and so far it seems to be a mixed bag. Rima is here with all of those details. Rima, tell us more.
Well, Eicher Motors is clearly the standout performer so far in the month of June, with the total Royal Enfield sales beating expectations at 89,500, registering a growth of 22%. Growth was largely led by the international business. That's about 14% of their revenues, and that clocked in a very strong 79% jump in the total volumes. M&M too has clocked in a very good quarter, steady and strong, but it has been for the last couple of months. So in M&M, there are two parts. There is the automotive and there is tractors. When it comes to automotive, numbers are in line with expectations, a growth of 14%. Here, it's the passenger vehicles which has driven growth, 18%, while the commercial vehicle sales growth has been flat. Tractor performance for M&M has been very good, ahead of expectations at 53,400 units, a growth of 13%, and the company says June growth was driven by cash flow from Rabi crop harvesting and the arrival of the monsoons. Bajaj Auto's numbers disappointed the street. It was a muted growth of 1% in June, lower than expectations, and the problem is the domestic sales, which has seen a drop of 13%. Escorts Kubota was largely in line. The company clocked in a total volume growth of 2.2%. Back to you.
Thanks for that, Rima. But moving on then, GSW Paints Parth Jindal says that they will aim to double sales in 3 years after the Axco Nobel acquisition, and the company won't burn way to market share. Listen in.
The funding is a mix of internal accruals, leverage at JSW Paints, as well as getting some support from financial creditors through private equity. And we have tied up the entire funding for not only the open offer, but also the stake sale. In terms of our targets, I think we become the second largest player in industrial coatings after this coming together. And in decorative, we become a close, very, very close number 4 player with number 3 very close to our grasp. I think it would be a bit premature to set any targets. We obviously still need Competition Commission of India approval and other regulatory approvals to come in. But I think the power of JSW and Dulux and coming together, I think no target is insurmountable. And unlike others, we have a profitable business. We don't need to burn our way through getting to the numbers that we need to reach.
Well, that was Parth Jindal, and let's focus in on the other big news today, which is Apollo Hospitals. They will be creating a new listed entity by consolidating its pharmacy, digital health and pharma distribution businesses into one platform. Vinny joins us with the con call highlights. Vinny?
Hi, afternoon. So in terms of the highlights that have come in from the con call, the new company, that's a new entity that will have a revenue of around 25,000 crores by FY27. The company is highlighting in the con call that they're expecting to continue to grow this new entity at around 23 to 24% with an EBITDA margin expected to improve from 3.5% to 7%. The growth mainly will come in for the company from the e-pharmacy business, which is expected to do well. They're adding some new sort of business lines also coming in here, insurance being one of them. So that is also going to be something that will start driving the growth for the company going forward. Now, other than that, they're expecting to achieve that break-even EBITDA, which they've spoken about for the Apollo digital business. That's the 24/7 business. That will come into the new entity now, right? So that will also, they're expecting to break even on that business sort by FY26 as well. So all that will also be supporting the growth. Cash loss which they're seeing in Apollo 24/7, that will start reducing. In FY25, it was a cash loss, so obviously it will reduce in the next 1 year, and obviously they're expecting to bring this down to 0 and turn cash positive on that front from FY27. So next year, next financial year, we could see positive signs here as well. Offline pharmacy margins, there are different divisions in this now. So offline pharmacy margins, they're expecting that to move up from 7.6% to 8 to 8.5%. Online business margins, we're expecting to break even the next 4 quarters, and then obviously positive move expected there. And KeyMed, that is expected to see an EBITDA margin over there moving up from 3.3% to 4%. Do not forget that the new company will be paying royalty to Apollo Hospitals, which is there, Apollo Hospital Enterprises, which is the listed entity, and that will be in the range of around 10 crores per annum, and that would move up gradually. But that deal and that clarification is still left from the company in terms of what they'll be exactly paying. So they'll be wait out for that. And diagnostic business will continue to be a part of Apollo Hospitals Enterprise Limited, which is the listed entity. Yes, so that will be something that they'll be growing on the Apollo Hospitals front.
Well, thank you so much for that. Many important takeaways coming in from the conference call of Apollo Hospitals. But now shifting focus, Jefferies is anticipating further supply of equity to the tune of $60 billion to $80 billion for the remaining 9 months of the current financial year, led by marquee IPOs, disinvestments and QIPs on the anvil. Hormaz brings us all of those details. Over to you, Hormaz.
Well, $80 billion is the kind of equity supply that Jefferies is anticipating over the next 9 months of the current financial year. Now, over the last 2 months, the market has seen a significant rebound from the lows that we had made in April. And what has that resulted in? It has resulted in this return of supply of equity, be it block deals, be it QIPs, be it more IPOs. And as many as $17 billion worth of deals took place in the month of May and June, of which $10 billion took place in the month of June. Now, that is according to Jefferies. What they also say is that this monthly run rate of $8 billion is even higher than the peak that they had seen in the second half of calendar year 2024. Now, what led to this move in May and June? It was mostly promoter exits and PE exits that took place. Almost 75% of that is to these two categories, and of course IPOs and QIPs compiling the rest. Now, why they say that this kind of supply is still anticipated in the market, and that is because almost 65 IPOs, according to Jefferies, are still awaiting regulatory clearances. Now, for the first quarter of FY26 itself, we have already seen 56 DRHPs being filed. That is almost a quarter of the 211 that were filed in FY25. And that is why they believe that this momentum is likely to continue going forward as well. Now, expecting IPOs, where are they anticipating in areas, be it internet, capital markets, telecom? They're expecting QIPs to take place in the financial sector, mainly in the PSU banks. If you take a look at the sectors as well, the telecom sector, they're expecting equity supply worth almost $15 to $20 billion, anticipating that big Jio IPO as well. For the capital markets, that big NSE IPO, that can lead to a $10 to $12 billion supply, along with other issues as well. For the internet space, they're seeing some more e-commerce IPOs, PE exits taking place, that can contribute another $10 to $12 billion of equity supply. For the banks and the PSUs as well, anywhere between $4 to $8 billion, some more supply coming in for these segments as well. So as a result of which they are saying that it is this kind of supply that may put a lid on the near-term returns of the market, when there is some bit and actually quite a large amount of paper that is still lined up for the rest of FY26.
Well, interesting data there, Hormaz. We'll have to wait and see whether or not such a massive supply gets absorbed in the market. But as we slip into a very short break, remember to tune into the all-new CNBC TV18 Prime, bringing you insights from policymakers, business leaders and economists shaping both the world and India's future. CNBC TV18 Prime decodes global shifts and their impact on Indian businesses, giving you unparalleled insights. Tune into CNBC TV18 Prime at 12 noon for the Global Reset, at 1 p.m. for the Big C, and Global Lens at 8:30 p.m. Welcome back. You're watching Business Lunch on CNBC TV18. All eyes are on the India-US trade deal. My colleague Parikshit joins us with what he is picking up over this trade talk that is underway. Parikshit, over to you.
India-US trade talks have entered the final lap before the 9th of July deadline. Indian officials have made it clear that there will be no concessions on agriculture and dairy, as these are red lines in the negotiations, and India has kept them out with other trade deals, including with the UK and in talks with the European Union. Sources also say that both sides are yet to come to an agreement on average tariffs. While US wants to impose a 10% baseline tariff as an average tariff for India, India wants zero duty access or at least preferential treatment compared to Vietnam, Indonesia and Bangladesh. Also, India wants an exemption from 25% US tariff on steel imports, but this is unlikely to happen. For the moment, the biggest issue is around agriculture and dairy, with Indian officials conveying that they may have to walk out if the US persists with the demand that India should open up its agriculture and dairy sectors for US goods. But there is still hope that a deal may happen in the next 2 to 3 days, with the White House conveying that President Trump and his team are working on trade deals with several nations, and they will announce an update on India very soon. As of now, India's chief negotiator, that is Special Secretary Rajesh Agarwal, is still camping in Washington, D.C. for the final phase of negotiations. Indian officials have also indicated that India would strike a deal only if it's a win-win and serves our national interest. Otherwise, we are ready to accept a 26% reciprocal tariff come the 9th of July.
Thanks for all of those details, Parikshit. But moving on then, Senate voting on Donald Trump's sweeping tax cut and spending bill extends into the second day. The US lawmakers are voting on a length series of proposed amendments from Democratic and Republican senators, and the Republic leaders look to secure the support needed to pass the bill. In the meantime, Tesla CEO Elon Musk slammed Trump's big beautiful bill on his social media platform X. He called the bill a debt slavery with the biggest debt ceiling increase in history. He also said that it is time for a new political party in the United States. He said that the country needs an alternative to the Democrat-Republican Uniparty so that the people can actually have a voice. Post his comments, Trump hit back at Musk by saying that the Department of Government Efficiency should take a good look at Musk's subsidies. He said that the country could save a fortune by withholding those subsidies. NBC's Ryan Nobles is here to give us the update so far.
Senate Republicans dashing to deliver President Trump's big, beautiful bill to his desk by July 4th.
This is the most momentous legislation of my lifetime. This is going to be the largest tax cut for Americans in our history.
But Democrats looking to delay it with a so-called vote-a-rama on amendments likely to be voted down.
How do you feel about the process so far?
Well, now there's going to be a lot of amendments, and ultimately I'm going to vote no.
And now new criticism from a familiar foe. Elon Musk, who previously apologized for unleashing personal insults against President Trump, tonight slamming the Porky Pig Party for insane spending and threatening anyone will lose their primary next year if they support it. The White House says Musk is opposing the bill because it takes away electric vehicle tax credits that help his company Tesla.
I haven't spoken to him much, but I think Elon is a wonderful guy, and electric vehicle mandate, the EV mandate, is a tough thing for him.
The bill delivers on many of President Trump's campaign promises, including extending the Trump tax cuts and giving billions of dollars for border security, as well as eliminating tax on tips and overtime. But it also makes changes to Medicaid, including imposing work requirements to get benefits. North Carolina Republican Tom Tillis opposing it.
What do I tell 663,000 people in 2 years or 3 years when President Trump breaks his promise by pushing them off of Medicaid?
President Trump said he would support a primary challenge for Tillis, who then abruptly announced he would not run for re-election. The president calling that great news.
Do you think there's going to be a lot of changes to the bill over the course of this vote-a-rama?
I don't. I think that there are some improvements and some clarifications that will need to be made. It's the best product that you can produce with the votes you can get.
Most Republicans believe that once Trump makes it clear he wants it done, the votes will come fast.
Well, the drama around the big, beautiful tax bill continues to unfold, and we'll keep getting you more updates on that as this goes on. But let's slip into a very short break now. For now, more news and updates on the other side, so don't go anywhere. Welcome back. You're watching Business Lunch on CNBC-TV18. 19 days after the fatal crash of Air India flight in Ahmedabad, sources tell CNBC-TV18 that the Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau is likely to release its preliminary investigation report soon. Madhya is here with more details on this. Madhya?
Well, sources tell CNBC-TV18 that the preliminary report on the Air India AI-171 crash is expected in a matter of days, likely this week or early next week. We reached out to the AAIB and the Director General of Civil Aviation, but both have not responded to our queries on the status. The preliminary report, however, is not expected to conclude what caused the crash, but what we can expect instead is a detailed reconstruction of the flight's final moments, including a timeline of events, cockpit recordings, system configurations, and possibly weather and air traffic control inputs. It's been 19 days since the crash that killed 241 passengers. The on-ground casualty number is not clear yet. The Ahmedabad Civil Hospital has confirmed it has handed over 19 bodies of non-passengers. That's lower than the 34 on-ground casualties mentioned earlier by the Air India CEO Campbell Wilson. Now, so far, the Aviation Ministry has shared two updates on the investigation, first on June 19 and the second on June 26, confirming that both black boxes were recovered, one on June 13 and the other on June 16, and taken to the AAIB lab for analysis. The preliminary report, when it comes, will be the first official insight into what might have gone wrong on the afternoon of 12th June 2025. Now, Air India has maintained that the aircraft operating flight AI-171 had a clean history, major maintenance check, which is called the C check, was done in June 2022. The next check was due in December 2025. The right engine was overhauled and installed in March 2025, and left engine was inspected in April 2025 as per the manufacturer's protocol. The flight was being piloted by a highly experienced Captain Sabharwal, who had over 10,000 hours of flying experience as per the CEO. Now, in the aftermath, DGCA has ordered enhanced safety checks across Dreamliner aircraft, and Air India had to cut down on both domestic and international flights to ensure safety and operational stability to minimize passenger inconvenience.
Well, thank you so much for those details, Madiha. But moving on then, starting today, vehicles in Delhi that have crossed their permissible age limit will no longer be allowed to refuel at petrol pumps as part of a major pollution control initiative by the Commission for Air Quality Management. The rule applies to diesel vehicles older than 10 years and petrol vehicles older than 15 years. CNN News 18's Anvit spoke to a petrol pump supervisor about the rule change. Let's listen in.
सर, दिल्ली गवर्नमेंट ने हमें जो है एक जो लागू कर रखा है यहाँ पे पेट्रोल और सीएनजी की गाड़ियाँ हैं 15 साल पुरानी होंगी, उन्हें जो है कोई भी ईंधन और गैस नहीं मिलेगा, और जो डीजल की गाड़ियाँ 10 साल पुरानी होंगी उन्हें जो है डीजल नहीं दिया जाएगा। उसके लिए उन्होंने यहाँ पे ANPR करके कैमरे हैं जो ऑटोमेटिक नंबर प्लेट को स्कैन करते हैं, और वो जो है एक साउंड बॉक्स लगा रखा है जो कि उस गाड़ी का नेम प्लेट बताएगा, साथ में ये भी बताएगा ये गाड़ी जो है एक्सपायरी है। अच्छा। उसके बाद यहाँ पे जो है दिल्ली गवर्नमेंट ने जो है अपने जो भी कर्मचारी हैं ट्रैफिक पुलिस और पुलिस जो है यहाँ पे डिप्लॉयड कर रखी। हमारे जो भी अटेंडेंट हैं वो जो है उनको सबको बताएंगे ये गाड़ी जो है एक्सपायरी है, और वो अपने जो उनके पास जो मशीन है उसमें जो उसका नंबर डाल के उसको पूरा स्कैन करेंगे, उसके बाद जो है उस गाड़ी को रिस्पॉन्ड किया जाएगा।
तो सिर्फ पेट्रोल डीजल नहीं मिलेगा, अगर पुरानी गाड़ी आती है तो वो इम्पाउंड भी होगी?
इम्पाउंड होंगे सर, बिल्कुल, क्योंकि ये यहाँ पे डिप्लॉयड हो रखा है, दिल्ली गवर्नमेंट ने जो है अपने कर्मचारियों को यहाँ पे डिप्लॉयड कर रखा है। हम उन्हें बताएंगे कि ये गाड़ी जो है एक्सपायरी है, वो जो आके अपनी मशीन में जो गाड़ी का जैसे नंबर प्लेट डालेंगे, वैसे तो ANPR तो बताएगा ही, साथ में जो है उनके पास भी हम उनको जो है इन्फॉर्म करेंगे, और जैसे डालेंगे तो वो गाड़ी का पूरा जो है डिटेल आ जाएगा। गाड़ी जैसे ही जो है एक्सपायर होगी तो वो उसको जो है रिस्पॉन्ड कर देंगे।
Well, on to some international updates then. Thailand Prime Minister Paetong Shinawatra was suspended by the country's constitutional court as it opened a probe into her conduct in a diplomatic spat with Cambodia. This comes after a group of conservative senators lodged a case accusing her of an ethical breach during a leaked phone call with a former Cambodian PM. Thousands of people have been protesting in Bangkok seeking the Thai PM's resignation. Well, that's all we have in this edition of Business Lunch. Don't go anywhere because Midcap Radar comes up next.